Yes, guys, I wanted to run you through Mike's £70 transformation. Mike spent just under a year with us. He dropped £70. He went from not really training in the gym to then reversing up, going into a muscle building phase, and he also completed a Tough Mudder in our time working together. So, the way we set up any client is they will always come in phase one. And I want this to be applicable to your journey, so I'm going to speak about Mike's phase one, but I'm also going to speak to you about how you can set this up for yourself. After you get the foundations together, you then enter into phase two, which is your performance phase. If you have a big target, that is where you achieve it. Then phase three is your autonomy phase. So if you're going to be looking at a journey of 6, 9, 12 months in fitness, this is how we personally set you up. This is how we've had over 100 success stories with guys over the years. And I want to run you through initially what phase one is. In my opinion, this is arguably the most important one because this is where you make sure this journey is sustainable. You don't come in towards here and set some crazy targets for a 4 week span. You literally set yourself up for, we do 4 weeks, you could do 6 to 8 weeks. But say, for example, today is the 25th of November, you would set this up to end just before Christmas. So essentially, you're building the frameworks for your journey. You're building enjoyment for your process. You're making sure you're not burning out and you're finding out where you're willing to push. So simply what I would do is write a list of what you really enjoy. So you want to be looking at training, you want to be looking at gym, you want to be looking at steps, lifestyle, cardio, nutrition. What do you really enjoy? Now your plan wants to be based around this. You then want to have a look into some weaknesses. How can you improve upon these weaknesses? And how can you build the frameworks for a journey where you're going to be able to, let's say you want to drop body fat, how are you going to build the frameworks for that journey? Now, in terms of Mike's scenario, he'd been in the gym in the past, but he wasn't overly confident with the gym. He was quite strong nutrition-wise, but he struggled with working night shifts. So we knew initially, okay, cool. Well, we need to get Mike in towards the gym. That needs to be an initial focus. We need to get him strong in the gym. And on top of that, we need to make sure he's equipped with everything he needs nutrition-wise to succeed in his night shifts. After a 4 week span, he was confident training in the gym. He had results. He was dropping body fat. And he was confident with how to manage nutrition on his night shifts. And then once you have these foundations in a place, once you're consistently moving forwards in your journey at that point, then you have the ability to move into phase two. What we want to make sure is if you're a football fan, phase one for you could be pre-season. You're not looking for the most complex results. You're not looking to go and win the Premier League. You're looking to, throughout phase one, build together your team, build together your squad, build together your foundations, get your tools. If you're a builder, which tools can I get to go and build a house? Now in phase two, we start dropping the hammer. We start building the house. So if you've ever played Call of Duty, we're looking to prestige or pack a punch your journey. You've got your journey up at 5, 6, 7 out of 10. You haven't burned yourself out. You're not feeling tired. You're not feeling under-recovered. You then take your journey up a gear. What I would do, set a clear time frame. So let's say throughout phase one, you dropped 4 to 8 pounds. Okay, cool. What is the overall goal for you? Where is the end target? What is the destination? Now, set the destination in, reverse engineer how long that's going to take you. So let's say, for example, you want to drop 2 stone. Okay, cool. So 2 stone, let's give ourselves 4 or 5 months. We set that end time frame. But then what we ensure is that, okay, cool, that's there. That's the destination. But we're now going to focus on your process. And that's why through phase one, we became process driven. We didn't become goals driven. We became process driven. You've got to think about any football team. What does a football team focus on? Any good football team. They're focused on the tools they have. They focus on the process. They focus on going into every challenge, making sure that the hardest working team on the pitch. They don't focus on the end goal. And if they do focus on the end goal, they don't succeed. And that's why we want to get you process driven. Throughout phase two, we take your process from here to up there. What we do as well is we make sure every single week we monitor performance. So every week we want to look at progress pictures. We don't want to just judge your journey off of weigh-ins, right? If you just judge your journey off of weigh-ins throughout phase two, your wheels are going to fall off because the minute your weigh-ins don't go down, you're going to think, fucking hell, and you're going to go back to where you were beforehand. So what we want to ensure is we're taking progress pictures. We're taking measurements. We're tracking all gym progress. We're tracking what you're lifting in the gym. We're tracking cardio. We're tracking steps. We're tracking body weights as well. Now you've got 7 metrics to go and judge your journey off. Every 7 days you want to monitor them. How much progress are you making towards your targets? How are you recovering? How are you sleeping? What are your stress levels? You want to monitor absolutely all of this. Now after 7 days, you sit down, you analyze the data and say, okay, cool. After that 7-day span, how can I simply go and push forwards 1%? How can I make sure I maintain that level because I'm making progress? But how do I push forward 1%? And this will come from your willingness audit. So what I would have done throughout phase one is I would have done a willingness audit. So finding out where you're willing to push. Now you look back at that willingness audit and say, okay, cool, I'm in this position. I said I was willing to push forwards on cardio. So this week I'm going to push my cardio forwards by 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Every 6 weeks, you set a catch up, whether that's with yourself or your coach, on do you need to switch up your direction? Now, you don't need to do this, but what I find is as humans, we're very momentum based for 4, 6, 8 weeks. Everyone's different, so it will be a different time span, and that's how you're going to need to analyze your own situation. But what I tend to find is a sweet spot for clients every 6 to 8 weeks. Okay, cool. What are you enjoying? What are you hating? What do you need to switch up? Then we monitor that. Do we need to change workouts? Do we need to change direction? Do we need a maintenance phase? Bit of food for thought there. Non-exercise activity and cardio, they all go up before calories go down. What you got to think to yourself is, let's say you tank calories. Let's say you were eating 2,000 calories, you were doing 20 cardio, and you were doing 8k steps. If we go and take calories down to 1,500 and keep activity there, the minute you go and try and push that activity forwards on 1,500 calories, what happens? You burn out because you haven't got the energy. Whereas if you stay at 2,000 calories and go and move your 20 cardio up to 40 cardio and go and move your 8k steps up to 12k steps, then you take your calories down, the transition is much, much smoother. Pushing and pulling. What is pushing and pulling? It's knowing when to push. It's knowing when to pull. So when you're in momentum, when you have conditions perfect, when you have no problems with your environment, with your family, with your circumstances, when you have no illnesses, you push forwards. Then the minute something happens in your personal life, the minute you get ill, you pull back on your journey. That'll be an important phase for you to understand. And if there is any questions about this, feel free to come and reach out to me on Instagram. So if you already follow me, perfect. If you don't, it's just coachmatt.wilson and reach out to me. So phase number 3, this is the lifestyle phase. Arguably, again, I would say each phase is as important as each other. So phase 1, if you don't have phase 1, you're going to burn yourself out on your journey. If you don't have phase 2, you're not going to achieve your targets. And if you don't have phase 3, you're not going to maintain your targets. That's why we block it out into 3 phases. If you just view it as one phase, ultimately, you're going to burn yourself out. It's not going to be sustainable. So phase 3, the lifestyle phase, maintenance at that point. So if you dropped 2, 3, 4 stone, for example, for Mike, he managed to drop 70 pounds. He actually dropped above 70 pounds, right? And when he lost that, it was very important to say to him, look, mate, you're not going to be pushing any further than this now. You need to maintain this. You need a lifestyle phase. Your body's not comfortable consistently losing that amount of body fat. So you need to make sure you teach yourself maintenance for at least 4 to 6 weeks. Ask yourself this: do you know how to lose? Do you know how to gain? Do you know how to maintain? So I can guarantee your answer is, I actually struggle to maintain. I always seem to be able to lose weight. I always seem to be able to gain weight, but I struggle to maintain. So for a lot of people, this can be the toughest part. Now, in terms of maintenance, simply what I would do is go from a deficit and just add a couple hundred calories, weigh yourself each morning, and just monitor, are my weigh-ins going up or down? 7 days worth of data. If you need to make a change again, make a change again. And just don't get reactive. Make sure you're being proactive. Set the plan at the end of the week, analyze the plan, and become proactive with what you're doing. I would then analyze, okay, cool, what's important to me now? Do I want to build muscle? Do I want to have further fat loss? What is the definition of success for me? That's what I'd be asking. Then what you make sure is you give yourself that platform to push forwards with workout performance. So for example, with Mike, when he lost that 70 to 75 pounds, he then set a target for, I want to go and do a Tough Mudder. I want to focus on hitting personal best in the gym. Okay, cool. There's your maintenance. Now you've got a new direction. We're going to give you extra calories and just focus on your performance. So you can see, guys, how we set up clients' journeys. You can see the transformation for Mike. Absolutely incredible. And that is exactly how we set our clients up. Phase 1, 2, 3, foundation phase, focusing on your performance, dropping the hammer, and then autonomy, making sure you can maintain it for the rest of your life. If that was helpful for you, just give the video a like, hit subscribe, or alternatively, if you need any help with anything, come and contact me on Instagram. It is coachmatt.wilson.